Now comes where they put the last nail on the coffin. When I'm finishing my 2 weeks being done detox, I think there was something that was posted in our family group, and I answered something, and then one family member said, this is not the carrier, at home they call me carrier. This is not the carrier, this is the addict speaking. There was another colleague of mine now who was caught, but considering we were still very new, he was pardoned. But then I remember the next day when I came to work, I did the walk of shame, and then there was one Russian chef, and he told me, I saw what you did yesterday, but I can tell you, champagne is one of the worst drinks that you can ever drink. Don't abuse that drink. That's why you see these people, they take a glass, 2 glasses. Me, I don't know these things, but at least by then I saved my face. The company didn't get to hear what I had done. But this is where it all started. I remember I would go to work. When I start my shift, I would tell the barman to give me a screwdriver. The screwdriver is vodka mixed with orange juice. Oh. So this guy would put for me the
vodka and orange.
And then I would go with it back of the house. I'm passing with the manager. How are you? You are taking your orange, huh? All right. When people are working in hospitality, this is one industry that is, people can sink into alcoholism very fast. Here you have access to alcohol, and mind you, sometimes you even have access to alcohol that you cannot afford. Not even sometimes, most of the times, you have access to alcohol that you cannot afford.
Mm-hmm. Francis had to be reintroduced back to me as the system by the therapist. When he was walking through the journey, he also found me at a point where I was still bitter with the process. And no matter how much he said that he has changed, I never saw it that way. I'm also, you've talked about learning and relearning. I'm also in a process of getting fast to learn my brother who he is, because this is not the brother I've known, and have also been unlearning those things and taking him back so that now I relearn how to deal with him. Have seen some rehab who preach the gospel of relapse is part of healing, but I'm also coming to say, let's embrace sobriety. Alcohol does not give you a second chance. And if it does, it's a chance to be 6 feet under. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of LNN. My name is Lynn Ngugi, and as always, we get to meet for another episode where we get to do 3 things, right? You know them by now: learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I'm about to have a very beautiful conversation. And I say beautiful because I understand this has been a struggle for so many people. Families that might not talk about it, families that have spoken about it. Addiction has been a struggle to so many people. But I'm looking at my guest today, and he's reminding me of why we need to be hopeful, because I was just thinking, oh my goodness, I can't even explain how many people are looking at him right now and saying, I wish my son, I wish this miracle will happen to my son. I wish this miracle can happen to my daughter. I wish this can happen to a family member. Like, I know that period where you are waiting for that transformation, because right now you're in that dark place and you don't know whether things will ever look better for your family member who has battled addiction. But I feel like the essence of having this conversation with him is to make sure that, you get to have this hope, and you get to believe that by God's grace, anyway, this miracle can happen for you and to you, right? I'm about to let him introduce himself so that he can share his story with us. And I don't take it for granted that he's even willing to share this. And I asked him, what do you want us to achieve with today's conversation? And he said, Lynn, me could change life. So I don't take such things for granted. As I said, I'm about to let him introduce himself and walk us through his journey. But you guys, you remember Teresa? I don't think we've had Teresa on this platform for I think the last couple of months. But I was looking at Teresa, and this is actually the brother, and I feel like it answered that question I have always asked her. Teresa, why do you do this? And today, not only will she be joining us from a professional capacity, but she's also going to join us as a sister so that she can walk us through how do we navigate this as a family, and also professionally, how can we be able to be there for everyone who is battling addiction. Today's conversation is dedicated to each and every one of us who is going through this as a family, as an individual. I want you to be able able to listen to this and know there is hope. I won't go any further. Just want to thank my team for coming through and putting this work together, and of course you guys for watching and being active participants of our work. You've gotten us to 1.2 million subscribers. I don't take that for granted. Shukran sana. And now, of course, without further ado, please allow me to let my guest today introduce himself. Hello.
All right. Thank
How
you very
are
much.
you?
I'm doing good.
You
How are
look sharp.
Thank you very
That's
much.
a sharp look right there.
Thank you.
You
Thank
know?
you so much.
How,
You look
how are
well
you
as well.
feeling? Oh, thank
I'm
you.
feeling okay.
You're feeling good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're about to get into your story.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
the part where we say before a testimony, there is a test.
Yes.
So we're about to get to the test of the testimony.
Yes.
But before we do that, could you please maybe looking at that camera,
Yeah.
introduce yourself
Yeah.
and tell us maybe what you do.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Francis Kiari Kanyeka. I'm a grateful recovering alcohol addict. I've been an addict for the last 17 years, but gracefully I'm recovering now. I am a recovery coach at All Smiles Therapy Center. So that's what I do, just trying to work with other addicts and helping them.
All right.
Yes.
How is that like, just working with people and knowing I've been here before?
Well, I think it's all about authenticity, just bringing out what I have, trying to share my journey. We call it sharing the experience, strength, and hope with other people. Just telling these people that there is hope, that addiction is not a curse. You know, by the end of the day, we can overcome. Yes.
All right, great,
Yeah.
great to hear that. But looking back at yourself, did you ever think you would be sitting here, this other side, in like, you know, motivating people and telling people, let me share with you my journey? Did you ever think that?
Never, not in my wildest dreams. It has never occurred to me that I could be sitting on such kind of a platform talking to people about these things. Because by the end of the day, I never used to believe I'm an addict. I joined it until it so happened that I had to accept this is what it is. Yes.
And you've said this has been for 17 years.
For 17 years, yes.
17.
Yeah.
All right.
For 17 years. Started way back in the year 2006 when I cleared my Form 4. And as everyone else, it was just experimentation, you know, here and there. And it escalated and it continued up until 2024. And I'm now going to hit a near sober in the next few days.
How
Yeah.
does that feel?
Well, it feels great. There are a lot of challenges out there because by the end of the day, life continues. It doesn't matter if you've been to a rehab or not. The things that were making me to drink are still there. And if I don't work on myself, chances of relapsing are very high. But I think I'm work in progress and I'm happy with my results so far.
Yeah, good to
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah.
I know people are waiting and they are saying, Lynn, can we hear his story so that we get to understand how he got to where he is? Would you walk us through maybe your journey from a point you're comfortable in,
Yeah.
so that we get to understand how do you end up having to do this for 17 years?
Yeah.
And also if there are any parents or anyone that is watching, what can they be able to learn and relearn from your story?
All right. All right. So yes, my addiction journey, as I've stated, began way back in 2006. But I just want to take it just back a bit. I was born in the year 1989.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a family most like every other family. You know, I don't want to call it dysfunctional, but it was just a normal family whereby mom and dad were there, but my dad was an alcoholic. I grew up seeing my dad drinking, but how he was drinking was just what we call normal.
Kawaida.
Ile ya kawaida. That's what we used to know. Because he was ever drinking. There was not much drama. He was not the kind of guy that comes home and you run chini ya bed or no. He was just the kind of guy who comes home. He would even tell us, "I love you," you know. And growing up in Ushago in those days, it was very rare. So we grew up more or less knowing this is the norm. So way forward back in 2006, I thank God that during my high school I never indulged in any thing like drugs or anything. But then that's considering that I was very small in size and by age. I think I was the smallest in the school until maybe Form 2 or Form 3. So sikuwa na hizo vitu. Sikuwa na chance ya kufanya hizo vitu.
Yeah.
And so all this started when I cleared my Form 4. And then the guys said, let's do a leavers bash. And we just drink, and the next day tunapatikana kwa mitaro somewhere. And that was the first time that I ever tasted alcohol. And I remember I said to myself that after this, I'm never going to do this again. Because by the end of the day, this is a feeling you never want to encounter again. Because I remember I woke up after, I think, the second day, more than 24 hours.
No way.
And I remember when I went home, my mom was very strict, but when I went home, she let me sleep the whole day, and I woke up the next day, and she didn't even talk. So I think she knew what was going on. So I said, I don't want to ever feel this again. So then moving on, just with the guys that we had cleared school with, we could maybe help our parents with the chores at home. Maybe weekend unapewa kamia. And I remember back then, these kegs, they had just come out. Ndo zilikuwa zinavuma. The small one used to go for 15 shillings. I remember very well, and the big one was 25. And then with the 50 shillings back then, and now the funny part was, I cleared school when I was 16. So I was turning 17 when I was already outside. And now we are already starting to experiment this with my friends. And kwa kijiji, we couldn't go to the bars because our wazazi wazaendo walikuwa wana frequent huko. So what we used to do, we would go to the next kijiji whereby hatujulikani sana.
Yeah.
So with your 50 bob, we would sit somewhere behind there, take your 2-3 cups of keg, then come home. In the village setting ni milima na mabonde.
Yes.
Tunavuka tukianguka because we are drunk.
Yeah.
That's how basically it started. And the whole of 2007, I remember I spent at home. It was just getting something, going to experiment, going to drink. And it was all good. It was all okay. Nothing was really happening. And by the year 2008, I first came to Nairobi. And I think the circumstances I came to Nairobi in, I went to work somewhere in Kawangware. And life was so tough. I had started drinking, but this time I didn't drink for like 6 or 7 months because I really needed to like focus on myself, think of what do I want to do, because nilikuwa naona hii life. I remember my mom kuna time alikuwa ananiambia hapana, rudi hapa tuchunge ng'ombe, but I would tell her, hapana, let me try one more month. It was just a chaotic life. But I think luckily, through the family members again, that changed. So I had an uncle of mine. He took me somewhere in Umoja. He gave me a job, and I can say this is where now my life started. Now, end of the year 2008, I was in Kawangware. I was thinking this is the end of my life. I was literally earning 4K. I didn't know what to do with this money. Do I pay rent? Do I eat? Do I drink? But then I realized I had not turned into an addict. I was still okay. But then when I went to Umoja, I started getting some cash. I think I was barely 19, 20 there. I started getting some inflow of cash because we had like an M-Pesa and nilikuwa nauza those. You remember those polythene bags that were banned?
Yes.
We used to sell them in wholesale. Yeah. We used to sell them in wholesale. I have a printer there, There was a lot of things that were bringing in some cash, and being that age, I think I didn't have any other thing to do with my life, and this is where now I started going with some kind of people, and we would drink.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to be let known out there that for me, I've never indulged in any other type of drug. I've never taken bangi, cigara, mira, anything else. I've never done that. And I've not even tried. So mine was just alcohol. And I think I did that. Well, it was quite heavy. That's where now I started drinking. But again, I didn't see it as a problem because everything else was going well. I would come to work, and it's not a work that requires me to go there even sober maybe. Or, you know, some workplaces where you go and someone tells you, apana, you're smelling alcohol, take some mint or just go, come back later. Because I was working alone. So basically I was my own boss, because my uncle would come maybe after a month, check on me after a week, calls. So, and this really made me to just lose my way a bit, because I thought I was independent, you know. And this is now where the story began of alcohol. Kukunywa ilikuwa ni almost daily now. Yeah, during weekends tuko kwa klabu, you know, I would even get late to open work, and these things, they come together. I even started the story of today, considering that I was young and
and you have
and I have money, so you know, these things, they zinapelekana. So it became a trend, and by the time it was by the year 2012, I think mid of 2012, this uncle of mine akaona hapana, huyu mtu amezidi. So he calls up my mom, who is the sister, amwambia huyu kijana yetu, he needs kwanza lose his job to just refocus. And that's what happened. And this was the first time I lost a job, and it was my own doing, but I didn't know that more was to come. It was just the calm before the storm. So and luckily I did some jobs here and there for the rest of the year in 2012. Then again, by the help of some family members, I remember I was going home and I met one of a relative who is a distant relative, and he tells me, yeah, I know of someone who is taking some people to Gulf. Oh, okay. So these things are happening, and I talked to someone who was a relative also, who was already in Dubai, and I talked to him, and he tells me, yeah, I even came through this type of agency, blah, blah, blah. So I went and I spoke to my family just to see what we can do over here. And they told me, okay, let's give it a chance. And that's how I ended up in Dubai in the year 2013, January 31st. I landed in Dubai. Yeah, it was quite an experience. I liked it when I landed, because considering I had gone with an agency, the company, the pay was not good. Everything was really not what I expected. But I was very focused back then. I remember I even forgot to say, by the time I'm going there, I had left my fiancée who was pregnant. So I went there knowing that I'm going to be a responsible person, you know.
Determined.
I was determined, you know. And the first couple of years, I can say, I was doing well, because even with the small salary that I was getting, I was managing to send her something. I would tell my mom, at least you have something, and I would still save some money. But now, considering that mostly when you go to the Gulf countries, we go as unskilled labor. So basically you don't really choose what you do, more or less.
Yenye itapatikana
ndo unachukuaga.
I can relate.
So I remember when I did my interview here in Kenya, I was interviewed as a kitchen steward.
Hey.
But you see now.
Hebu endelea Francis, alafu nikushow kitu. Hebu.
You see, now God works in his own mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So I was taken as a kitchen steward. I reached Dubai. This company that we were working for, they come to us after some few days and they tell us, there's a hotel somewhere, they need waiters. Can you be a waiter?
Yes, I can.
And mind you, in Kenya, mi sijaingia any 5-star property. The only thing I know about hospitality is a kibanda.
Also hospitality, the hospitality gani?
Yeah. Now we are being told, and when I hear this, we are being told is one of the biggest hotel back then in the world. It was called Atlantis the Palm. Tunaambiwa they need some waiters. There's an event, they need casuals for like a weekend. You, let's go. Do I have a choice? Oh my God, I remember it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. We are going there, and even the manager is telling me, can you bring me an espresso spoon there? What is that? You know.
Wase waelewi waezi elewa.
I know.
Hii kitu ni tough. You know, by the way, let me show before you go on. You know, that's how we landed there. Any job, you have a CV for a waitress, you have a CV
Yes.
for housekeeping,
Yeah.
you have a CV for security.
Yeah.
So you go distributing, yenye utaitwa, ndio utaitwa.
Yes.
So there the boss is telling you, nipe espresso spoon. You are like, what's an espresso? Karibu lete kijiko ya supu.
I'm just looking at him. Eh? And now, hii company imetutuma, you know, they had to polish their CV pia.
Oh.
Walikuwa naambia watu, we are bringing you people who are experienced.
Yes.
And you are now there in front of maybe an Indian manager or a white guy, and he's like, how dumb can you be? You don't know what is an espresso spoon. But then I remember there was a guy who was a senior in our batch, and he ran, he got that, and you know, so I'm just trying to show you that I was doing something that I
had no idea about.
I didn't know what is going on. I was a bit comfortable doing the kitchen because back home we've been washing
the dish.
But you know, that's how I started, and just like that, I became a waiter. I never became a kitchen steward
again.
Never. So ile kitu nilipeleka huko sikuwa ifanya. So I started just like that, and then these people would come the next week. They tell us there's another contract that comes up. You go for like 2 weeks, you know. So tunaenda tukifundishwa kazi. And then I think the first time I got like a permanent position, although I was still, we were casuals, so yes. We are being sent by an outsourcing company. We were sent to Abu Dhabi. So I'm being sent, there was a hotel that was opening, so we went for a pre-opening. And this is where really I met a manager that was very good. She was German, and she taught us the job. So she came and told us, guys, tell me the truth. Do you guys know what you're doing? No, tell me the truth. I will not hold it against you. And we told her, to be honest, me, I don't know anything about hospitality. I don't know what you guys are doing. You're telling me to put a white wine glass, red wine glass, these things I don't know. So she taught us these things, and we did the job. We did the job, and that's how I became a waiter, front of house. And why is this relevant in this story? Because when people are working in hospitality, this is one industry that is really, people can sink into alcoholism very fast. Because remember, here you have access to alcohol, and mind you, sometimes you even have access to alcohol that you cannot afford. Not even sometimes, most of the times, you have access to alcohol that you cannot afford. I even remember the hotel that we went for pre-opening. On the day of opening itself, there was a very big function, and we were doing a pre-function area, the opening ceremony, and we were doing the pass arounds with those expensive champagnes. So what they do, they make it full, yes. A full tray with champagnes. You just pass it around, and these people just take a glass, you know. Excuse me, champagne, red wine. Champagne. Now what we would do, so now you are giving them, and you are taking the empty ones as well, all right? You give them, and you take the empty one.
Yes.
So by the time you make a round, I would make sure there is 2 left that are untouched. Hii champagne nasikiaga hii, and I indulge.
Vitu za walabi.
Kipeleka huko bacteria, una hizi vitu nasikiaga, you know.
Guy, what?
So
by the time shift inaisha,
hata ikuisha. I remember we were 2 of us. So me, I was taken out by some of the colleagues who we were working with. Wakanificha huko back area. They took me to the bus. I was taken to the accommodation. There was another colleague of mine now who was caught, but considering we were still very new, he was pardoned.
Yeah.
But then I remember the next day when I came to work, I did the walk of shame, and then there was one Russian chef, and he told me, I saw what you did yesterday, but I can tell you, champagne is one of the worst drinks that you can ever drink. Don't abuse that drink. That's why you see these people, they take a glass, 2 glasses. Me, I don't know these things, but at least by then, I saved my face. The company didn't get to hear what I had done. But this is where it all started. And then we were taken back to Dubai again. I went back to Atlantis. I worked there for like 1 year, but I was still a casual. But considering now that when I worked in Atlantis, the Palm, there was the outlet, and the people who are team leaders, they could trust us with some of the jobs there. They could even trust us, you are the one closing today, and I could be left with the whole bar. So what we do, when you're left with the whole bar, you are doing your inventory there, you make sure there is -2.
Yes.
It will be written as a breakage or something. Then nikienda nyumbani, naongeza. So that's how now my drinking really started. And now I thank God I came to get a job. I moved out from the supplying company. In the year 2015, I got a job in a very good property. It was a golf club. And now the levels moved a bit higher. Because now what happens is you are going there now to meet with these golfers. And as you imagine, the golfers are these people who have, you know. So it really changed everything. And this, I think, is where my story changed, because I worked in this golf club for 7 years. And I worked there until 2021. And it was all good. I remember in this place, there was too much access of alcohol. A lot access of alcohol. That my later years there, I can even remember the times that I moved from work and I was not drunk. Because you would find that when these people, they play golf, you know how these things happen. They order like this amount of alcohol, you know, we are this much people, everything is paid for. So what you are doing there is just to serve.
Yes.
All right? So everything is paid for. And by the end of the day, you find that what you've served these people and they went home, you are still left with a lot of stock. So I remember the people who are the barman there would tell us, malizeni kazi leo niko na mzinga JD. Let's finish work today, I have this, you know. And this really made my drinking escalate. And I remember, for me, working was normal. I used to work very well. I never used to have problems with my work. But the only thing that was there is my levels of drinking, they had gone up. Because you find that I would drink at work. By the time I go home, I would go to those places that we used to drink, and I would ongeza. So it used to be a cycle. It used to be a very tiring cycle. And I remember I used to even eat 1 meal a day for the longest time I can remember. So I used to eat 1 meal a day, because considering that I used to work in a bar setup, I'm going to work maybe 4 or 5 in the evening. Go there, they will send you for your dinner around 7, 8, eat, come back, finish your work around 1. You're already drunk because mmekunywa kitu kazini. Go home, drink more until 6 or 7, sleep, wake up at 4 or 3, jitayarishe uende kazi. So I used to survive on 1 meal a day. And it was just the norm. It was just, my life was just normal. I used to see it as normal. And I remember even during one of the appraisals, I had one manager who was a very good guy. He was like a brother to me. And he told me, Francis, you need to reduce on your alcohol intake. Because kazi unachapa. Kazi nayo unachapa vizuri. But then ikifika ni kamnyweso, hapo ndo ilikuwa inaleta, that's where I was drawing the line. And this was just normal. And it was just normal for every other person. What happens is, you work for a full year, I have some money, come for vacation, drink it all, go back, start again. Tesa vibaya sana.
Nimetoka majuu. Nyinyi mnanijua nyinyi. Guy.
It was a cycle. You know, apiga mwaka mzima, ile kitu niko nayo nakuja, natumia. And it was just okay. It was just okay. I remember I was very comfortable at my workplace. I never used to think like beyond. Sikuwa naona that I can, you know, because when people are in those countries, mostly people really think about their future.
Yeah.
You find people, they want to do these short courses. Maybe when you are there, you want to do a driving school, because if you are doing, maybe you're a hotelier and you have a driving license,
Yeah.
they elevate you.
Yes.
Everything there is money. Even these courses, you have Spanish,
Good.
unaongezewa kamshahara, you know. But me, I was just, that's why they say addiction is a disease. Me ilikuwa imenifunga. I was just seeing I'm comfortable, I'm making some good money. I was not seeing anything else outside that. And I would say this continued. So from 2015, 2016, 17, just the same, nothing changing. And then came the year 2018. And I think now this is where my story with addiction really came in. Because in the year 2018, I don't know, it was somewhere in February. I get a call and I'm being told that my dad has been admitted to hospital. Allah, what happened? I've never seen my dad hospitalized all my life. Ile kitu niliaiona akiwa mgonjwa was the common flu which everyone has. So I was shocked. And I think a week later, the guy comes out. Na tunapigiana, wewe utakunywa madawa, you know. But then they told us that there was some fluid that was leaking to the stomach from the liver. So in short, it was liver cirrhosis. I think some few days later, because from the time that he got sick, it took him like 12 days to pass. Some few days later, I'm being told that your dad is in ICU. We need to make a decision here. I don't know, to remove those support machines or something. Mimi nauliza nyinyi mnaniambia nini? And by this time that all this is going on, because I don't have any other solace, I was drinking heavily. So yeah, I remember I came home and coincidentally, from the stories I hear, the time that our dad left us, I was somewhere 37,000 feet nikikuja, because mimi nilikuwa nakuja kuona mtu mgonjwa. But then when I landed, I saw two of my uncles, one from my dad's side, his brother, and then an uncle from my mom's side, and they are coming. They are telling me, now this and this happened, your dad passed.
So sorry about it.
Thank you. And yeah, it was a tough time. But I think we didn't even have time to digest, you know. I don't want to put it this way, to like, but you know, sometimes when maybe someone goes through like a disease or something, you get prepared. Like for our dad, we were never prepared. We just didn't see it coming. But I'm not saying that there is death that is good. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it was just instant. It was almost like someone having an accident, and these things happen. So we just had to accept. But then you see, coming home, hiyo time ya matanga, there's a lot of things that are happening. Considering I'm the firstborn son. Yes, I'm not the firstborn, but I'm the firstborn son. And where I come from, being a Kikuyu, there are some traditions that maybe kijanani anafuata hii, kijanani anafuata hii. So during this time, hii time ya matanga, I didn't have time to mourn. Because natumwa na maybe uncle mmoja, and then mkaandikishe kwa Inoro, sijui kwa nini.
Yes.
So there was a lot of things that were going on. And I can say for sure, I didn't get time to mourn my dad. And I even remember, because normally they wanachimba hiyo shimo the last day, on the eve of the burial. And I remember I went to my dad's graveside. It was around 6:30 in the evening, when everyone had left after the vijana wamechimba hiyo shimo. And I just went there, ilikuwa imeekelewa mabati. I just reminisced the life we had, and I was just crying there. And I remember two ladies who are there in the compound helping to cook came to me, and they told me in Kikuyu, we duitikirite. That means we ujaji accept. Yani uja accept that mzaya ameenda. I felt so bad. I felt, you know, it was like they were coming to judge me.
Yeah.
Instead of at least mmoja wao angenipata tu aniambia it's okay. These two ladies tells me we uja accept ameenda. And then I couldn't even speak to them because I was crying there. And I remember I went with some of maybe my brother and other relatives, and I went and I drank heavily, because really that
statement.
Yeah, because that is what we expected. Like when you're kijana mkubwa,
Jipange man.
And then wanasema ule kijana mkubwa ni kama baba yake, so you have to be strong for the family. And that one, I think later on I came to realize, wow, this thing did me bad. So yeah, we buried our dad. And as it happens in our African setup, life goes back to normal. I mean, life goes back to normal. Because by the end of the day, when we bury our people, as much as there is so many people talking there, you know, this will happen, we will be there, whatever happens, people go.
Alone.
People go. And then you are there. I remember the first few days I was very traumatized because I could not imagine me sleeping and my dad is just down there kwa shamba. You know, it was traumatizing, and the only way I know how to comfort myself was to drink. And it was a tough month. It was a tough month. And when I was going home, I had been given 1 week emergency leave. Remember, nilikuwa naenda kuona mgonjwa. Sikuwa naenda kuona mtu amekufa. So when I went home and I told my bosses this and this happened, they had now to make it like a 1 month leave to just accommodate and maybe grieve. But then this month goes very fast. You don't even hata hakuna kitu yenye imefanyika. You know, you are still the same. You know, you look at your mom, you look at the sister, the brother, the people are still crying. We will just talk and everyone is breaking down. But time came, I had to go back. And when I went back, I remember even some of my friends, they used to tell me, hey, I think after this death, you've changed a lot, because for the first like 4 or 5 months, I reduced my drinking. Now sikuwa najua hii ni ile najifungia before nifunguke.
On a block.
yeah. I reduced my drinking and I was just okay. I was feeling I'm okay, but then it reached a point that I had to maybe cry myself to sleep. And the only solace I found right now, remember now I don't have any family member who is close, my sister, my brother, my mom, they are not there. And this story of my dad really hit me now. I think this is the time I started to grieve. Hapa ndio sasa grief ikanihit ile mbaya sasa. Now this is after like 4 or 5 months after nimerudi. And then I started drinking heavily. Yani, it was bad. It was bad. That is the year. By the time the year 2018 is coming, mid finishing of the year, I had turned it to something else. And I remember this manager of mine would come and tell me, now Francis, we need to speak. Apana, you know, we all have problems. We've all gone through grief. We've all, but what is happening? This guy understood me completely, because by the end of the day, I think he could have made me lose my job, but I didn't lose it. And I continued like that, drinking, and now it was very bad. You know, it reached a point, I think even there's that comfortability when you stay at one workplace for such a long time, that it gives you that audacity that you're there. I remember I would go to work. When I start my shift, I would tell the barman to give me a screwdriver. The screwdriver is vodka mixed with orange juice.
Oh, see, wow.
Yes.
See, screw. Yeah.
That's a cocktail called screwdriver.
Yeah.
So this guy would put for me the
Vodka and orange.
and then I would go with it back of the house. I'm passing with the manager. How are you? You are taking your orange, huh? All right. You see? Then I would go maybe for my lunch. I would come back. I would tell this guy, make for me the same. And then again, I would be walking with my drink. But, you know, I was like 24/7, I was drunk. And then now, by the time we are finishing our shift, like what I told you, by the time we are finishing in the evening, these guys will be having a stock and we will make a party. So by the time, I remember so many times I went home, because there, as you know, they provide company buses. So many I went home to the accommodation and I was drunk in the bus. Some people would take a photo of me. Some people would be making fun the next day. Hey, I saw you. What happened yesterday?
How did you read my mind?
You too much drama yesterday. Too much drama you. Don't drink like this, you know.
Alafu anaonanga mseka hadi cheese.
Hey.
Alafu this African. Go on. Too much.
And then
Wako na picha.
you'd find even these people, like when you're doing your briefing, you just started your shift. you're standing next to someone, you're many and the manager is there, he's doing a briefing. Someone is telling you, hey, too much smelling alcohol, huh? Then you're like, hey, take coffee, take espresso, what is this? You know, that used to be my life. That used to be me. Too much drinking, huh?
Mbona uchomea msetu live.
Mdosi ako pale anaongea, naona jaribu naambia, but I thank God mdosi alikuwa tu mfiti. Alikuwa ananipenda. Sometimes he would tell me, Francis, go there in the bunker, take 2 hours sleep, come. Sometimes he would tell me, go eat some mint, take some coffee, espresso, you know. But it was tough. It was some tough times. And addiction, when it reaches to certain levels, it becomes shameful. It reached to a point that I never wanted to hear anyone talking to me about how I'm drinking. And unakuja unaniambia, like, those people would tell me, hey, why are you drinking like this? Too much. It would offend me. But people were seeing it as a joke, because of course lazima unacheka, but deep down it was something that was really bad. It was taking a toll on me. And that's how you start isolating. I think I remember it reached a time, even calling back home was a big problem. I never used to communicate to my mom, to my sister, to my brother. I never used to communicate to anyone. The only thing I used to do was drinking. It reached a point that I even told myself, I think the only difference between me and mtu amekufa is that I'm actually alive. Because in the real sense, I'm alive. But apart from that,
I'm dead.
There's nothing else, you know. And I can tell you for free, the last time I came home was the year 2019. So after we buried my dad, I came home 2019. You know, it brought back all the memories, you know. Again, I drank during my vacation, went back, continued drinking. COVID came. So I remember in the year 2020, I think very few people could move around. So 2020, no one could move. 2021 came, but now I was akalewa, you know. By the time they're saying people can maybe take their vacations, I don't even know where do I start. How do I go? I don't even have money. And that's how I didn't come back home for like 4 years, I think. I came back home last year, 2024. It was that bad. So it reached a point I was telling myself, I think the only difference between me na ule mzee mwenye, now my dad, the fact that ako 6 foot under me, I'm still here. Because siongei na family, I'm not doing anything. I'm not even helping my mom. I'm just there. And I was working. And now where I realized that this addiction had really taken a toll on me. I remember in the year 2021, I got a job. I got a better job than what I was doing. And I thought, wow, actually this is a good opportunity. I resigned. As usual, you have to resign, wait for your time, wait for them to cancel your visa so the others can start the process. But then now, the craziest part, after I resigned, did my period, and even my last day, my last working day, I did half day. I remember nikaenda kwa bar, nikaeka wine, nikakunywa na nikapotea.
Okay.
That bad. And the person who was in charge there said, okay, we will cut some part of his gratuity. I didn't know what was coming over me, by the way. I think I was going crazy. So I resigned, I got this other job. But the only thing that happened is, when I went to this other job, believe it or not, I reported for 1 day. Sikurudi huko tena.
Wait, what?
Exactly. I reported to my new job just for 1 day. Because I remember I reported there with a hangover. Where I was like a head waiter. But here, they are telling me now you have to be a runner. But the pay is good, the pay is better. Minimum levy, and I'm thinking, what are these people telling me? Now I have to answer to some people. You know, I reported there for just 1 day.
After they had done all the process, the visa work, the whatever.
Now what happens is, after I moved from this company,
yeah,
they're in the process of cancelling my visa.
Yes.
this other company, they just wait for them to cancel, then they will start processing. So these people they are canceling, it's in the process of being cancelled. And here wameniambia we ingia tu, by the time this inakanseliwa we will just process. And that's how I didn't join this company. I reported for just one day, and the other company I had finished with them wanamaliza cancellation, and within no time my visa was cancelled, and now here I am with a cancelled visa, no job. Yeah. And I remember I stayed for 3 months struggling
in Dubai,
of course, and I was getting help from family back home instead of me sending them help. Because back then I remember you could take a visit visa of 3 months.
Yes.
That's what I did. That's what I did. And I remember the little money that I was even paid, I drank it all. You know, I was in such a place that I thought I was irredeemable. Yani mimi nilikuwa najua kesi yangu hii ni gone case. Mimi siko. So I stayed for 3 months struggling, you know, because I remember.
Hakuwa na savings?
Sikuwa na savings. I was drinking all the money. What I was getting, I was drinking. What I was getting, I was drinking. I was basically living hand to mouth. And now here it reaches a point, even the money I got from the company, naikunywa yote. And for 3 months I stayed in a foreign country just drinking. You know, I was supposed to be looking for a job, but I was drinking heavily. But I knew some people. Some people knew I was working well. Some friends of mine, they helped me. Nikapata another job. I got another job in another company. This company was not really good, but back then you could do anything because visa yako imechapa.
Yeah.
You know, my 3 months visa is going to expire. What do I do?
You need a job.
By this time I don't. You cannot even tell someone ebu ni sponsor hapa kidogo. I mean, so what happened is I just went to this job. Now it didn't even make matters better because hapa tulikuwa tunacheleweshewa mshahara. These people, they don't want to do visas for you. It was not one of the best companies that I've worked in. It was just one of those companies that I can say only the strong people can work there. But considering my situation, I was not strong. I was nowhere near strong because the only way I knew how to cope was to drink. No, I have a problem with the boss, I drink. Unaniambia hivi, I go drink. You know, wewe nitakuonyesha, I go drink. And it was bad. It was bad. And sorry, this job was somewhere in a mall. And in the restaurant itself, they were not doing alcohol. But what happened is I had a liquor license or alcohol license. You know, in Dubai, for you to hata karawa kupata na TI and then you show your license, you're good.
You're good.
So what I used to do, I would pass by a shop, used to be called MMI. I would pass by there, grab maybe some, you know, those 2 miniatures you get in the plane.
Yes.
Buy some miniatures of whiskey or vodka or whatever, put them in my bag, go to work. When we are changing, maybe rush to washroom, take 2 or 3, you know, brush, go start my job, go for lunch, 1 hour break. And so many times I would go back after my break. I remember my manager was a guy from Zimbabwe who would tell me, brother, you're drunk. You know, I was a bit lucky. I was getting people who were favoring me and they liked me. This guy liked my job and he was, you know, he's an African like me.
You have to protect each other.
Sometimes he's telling me, Apana, you just go home. Go home, sleep, I don't want to see this again. Sometimes he would blast me in front of people, I mean, colleagues.
Yes.
You know, just to put the point across. But me, I never listened. I used to do it. I would just tell them I will never do it again. It was something I could not control. It was something that was beyond me. I was, you know, nikunywa nikiingia kazi, nikunywa nikiwa lunch time, I go back home, continue drinking. And that's how I'm telling you I survived on 1 meal a day for like, I don't know, maybe half a decade. Because if you imagine that life, I was eating only the time that we are given break at work. Cause nikitoka hivi, nilikuwa naenda naeka bag yangu, change if I have the uniform, run, go and drink. And the fact that the company was really not good, it didn't make matters easier for me. It was so tough for me. But that is when I started sinking into depression. Slowly, I started isolating. Even I remember there are friends of mine who even today they call me, and maybe when I post a photo somewhere, they tell me, hey, uko alive. You know, we don't hear you in Dubai. We don't see you in Kenya. Tulikuwa tunafikiria labda ulienda majuu, maybe US or somewhere, and what happened to you? And now, I think maybe last year, when now I reformed, that's the time I've started to talk to some of these people. But since the year 2021, I started isolating. Remember, I even told you I isolated from my family. Yeah, so that thing happened even with friends. I could not talk with friends. I rarely used to communicate. Because now it reaches a point when you're so deep into addiction, remember this thing that comes with shame.
Yeah.
So I was feeling so bad about myself. Because if we go for a party, the next day someone is calling me ananiambia jana wewe ndio ulikuwa man of the match. So someone is calling me, hey, jana unakumbuka, you know. So these things, they make you to really isolate, because you know now, oh my God, I'm messing up. I remember I would go to drink, and the next day I would see calls, and maybe they're innocent calls. Maybe mtu ananipigia kuuliza kama nilifika, and I would not pick, because maybe huyu mtu atanigombanisha, sijui nilienda na bili ya nani, sijui nilifanya nini. It reached a point that my subconscious was not working. Sijui wanaitanga aje, that you are operating. Me tunge have a very good conversation like the way we are talking, and then I meet you the next day in the mall.
Ukumbuki?
Unaniambia unakumbuka jana vile tumeongea vizuri. I'm like, oh my God. But then it had become so often that I started going with the flow. I started going with the flow. Yeah, we meet somewhere. Hey, jana umenipia stories zingine hapo za jaba. Hey, manze. And I remember then with my girlfriend we would go, and then I'm saying huyu mtu sijai muona.
What?
And then she'd be like, but hivi wewe ndio unakuaga siku hizi. I had learned to go with the flow, because mi sijui niliongea na nani, sijui tuliongea nini. I'm even meeting with some our brothers from West Africa. My brother, today again we meet, same place.
Yes.
Of course man. Nashindwa huyu sasa.
Na mjuaje?
Ni moi muona wapi?
What?
You know, mimi sijui, mind yangu ilikuwa hivyo. Na this thing was very bad on me. Ilikuwa inanifanya nasikia vibaya sana. I was feeling worthless. I was feeling that mi sio mtu ule anafaa hata kukua akiongea na watu. And it made me to even drink more. And I even remember I told one person that was close to me, who was a girlfriend of mine, and I told her, if only I can get some way yenye naweza acha tei, naweza iacha. Because I remember there were times I could drink and I just switch off my phone for like 2-3 days, not going to work, not going even outside, forget outside the house, outside the room. It was that bad. Nilikuwa nashikwa na depression ingine that was bad, a depression that was very bad. But then vile tu nakwambia, it was God's grace. This boss of mine would tell me, hey, Mama Africa, what happened? Okay, take your time, when you come we will talk. Naenda nakula warning letter, tunaendelea na maisha. True. Because by the end of the day he's being pushed, but he's trying to cover me. Anaenda anasema huyu jamaa amekuwa na issues, blah blah blah. So I get myself a warning letter and I continue. So this drinking continued. I never even slowed down. I continued to drink even more. But one thing I thank God, sikuwa mtu wa makali. I think if mimi nilikuwa mtu wa makali, worst case scenario I could have been gone. Because mostly I used to drink beer. Yeah, I used to drink beer. And I would drink makali maybe when there's an occasion. Could be maybe once in a month. Or maybe I'm broke and I find some guys drinking and I take a shot. But I've never been a makali person. And there was a beer that is very famous there. It's called Red Horse. It's very strong. So this is what I used to take. And it's almost has the same effect like makali, but in a beer. So I think the fact that I was drinking a beer, it just saved me a bit. Just a bit. Because I think if kama ningekuwa nakunywa makali, I would be one of those guys. I think I could not be any different than those guys we see in the streets who go kupimwa kanusu. I was actually at that level. And now at this workplace, it reached a point. These people, they were holding our passports, and I think I went there in the year 2022, and they held my passport. My passport expired when it was in the hands of the company. You know, we are doing back and forth with them because they're telling me if you want to go and renew your
passport,
so ni either you resign, you go, ama utakuwa unpaid. How do I survive? And by this time, I was not even staying in a company accommodation. I was staying in a room that I rented. So how can I survive if they're telling me? And back then, I remember there was a time there was an issue with the passports. I don't know what was the problem. People were saying they could take months. So I'm thinking, God, 5 months, 6 months without salo, how do I survive? You know, and it got really bad, and the stress and the depression escalated. It was worse. Now I think the last straw where now everything came crumbling was 2023 December. 2023 I drank very badly also. I mean, it's not different from the other years, but this year I took it a notch higher. So I drank very badly, and I remember in December I took a break just before my birthday. Nikasema wacha nipunguze hii kitu. But then I don't know what was following me. On the eve of my birthday, I got an off day, and I've not drank for like 1 week, you know.
Umejipea strength.
Yes, nimesukumana nayo sana. And I meet a guy, an old friend, a guy from Cameroon. He tells me, my brother, we've not caught up for years. Been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. Come, let's talk. So we go out, grab some beers, and one thing led to another. And that is how I ended up going to work the next day. I met this guy around 6 p.m., like today. And I'm working tomorrow 2 p.m. I drank the whole night. Drank in the morning. And now, as fate would have it, ilikuwa ile siku ya nugu kupa, the proverbial. Because I went to work, I went to that shop, bought some beers, took just one, but then ikalipua zote. I went to work when I was drunk, totally drunk. I mean, there was nowhere to hide. You know, I remember even my boss was telling me, if I found you in the changing room like this, I could have sent you home. But now you came there is camera. These are the colleagues. And with all due respect, I don't have anything against any nationalities, but with all due respect, these other nationalities, they will see you. They will say, what are we doing, we Africans, if I save you now? So that's how I lost my job in December 2023. Remember, now not only losing a job, I don't have a passport. So basically, they gave me a grace period of 1 month, whereby you either change your status or you exit the country. And by this time, I think I was so far gone in my depression that I was not even thinking about anything. I was really not thinking about anything. I was just thinking about drinking. And for the first time in my life, I became suicidal. For the first time I felt, now I think the only way out for me is to kill myself. Because I really thought, I mean, hii life ni nini janionyesha? What is there to live for anyway? You know, and it became very bad. And I remember this is the time that my girlfriend reached out to my family. Because I remember at one time I told her, I think naweza toka tu pale nje niende ninunue those sleeping pills. nikunywe tu kama zote, and then I would not wake up. This was the first time and I think the only time that I know yenye nimewahi kuwa suicidal, because I saw that there is no way out. And remember during this time, when I'm struggling like this, looking back home, my brother is struggling as well. Yeah, so it was really, really hectic for my sister and my mom. It was chaos. Huyu anasumbuka huku, and I was thinking, oh my God, now what? Because I remember some few months back, I was the one trying to help out my brother, and I would tell him, apana, you need to chill up. And then I'm in the same scenario. Now to make it worse, better huyu ako kwa hii scenario kwa Kenya. You know, something can happen. You can send an uncle. You can even send police ashikwe. Because jela hakuna tei. Me, I'm there. I'm in a foreign country. And now, even this period of the grace period, imagine it was worse. I had the opportunity to go to embassy, the consulate, and do my papers, but I never went. For that 1 month, the only thing I could do was wake up, go drink, come back. Or maybe go eat something, come back. That's the only thing I could do. And then I had this person who was telling me, yani unakosa tu hiyo 50 ya kuenda consulate, you change your passport, ndio at least in some few weeks uende nyumbani or ujue vile utafanya, but unaweza toka hapa nje kunywa 50. It was that bad, and it was something that was beyond me. You know, maybe mtu angesema mtu afikiri po, but me it was beyond me. And I ended up entering on an overstay. You know, now I became a proper fugitive, because now when you're in a foreign country, you don't have papers, you're a fugitive. I mean, the police wanaweza kupata tu wakushike, and there's two ways: either they deport you or they jail you mpaka I don't know when. So that's where I ended up. I ended up being an overstay in Dubai. You know, and I was thinking everything is really working against me, and I was thinking, oh my God, I would drink maybe one day, because remember, sahi hata sina do. I would drink one day, najifungia 3 days. I would just make sure I have something, and I would just make sure I have something to eat. Maybe I eat 1 meal a day. I fungia myself for like 2 days, and it was just tough. It was bad. I didn't see any reason to be living anymore. And I was thinking, oh my God, I've wasted all my life. I was seeing myself as a failure. But now I think where my saving grace came from was where now this girlfriend of mine, she saw that something needs to be done. The moment I turned suicidal, she realized this guy might die. Huyo mtu anaweza tuacha. And I was looking bad. You know, najua mimi ni mtu skinny. I know that since day one, but imagine how I was looking. If I'm telling you I was looking bad.
Hi, Francis. You know it.
Yeah. Nilikuwa vibaya. And now you imagine, I'm not eating. I can even eat after 24 hours. Because I don't even have the grace to go. Because there how vile watu komboa manyumba, the kitchen is like common.
Yes,
so when you go to cook, you find other tenants who happens maybe mwenye amekomboeshwa nyumba ni Mwafrika. So you're all Africans. You find other people, whereby these other people, they're just maybe laughing at you. Hey, I saw you last night coming staggering. Ni nini mbaya? We, kwani wendi job? And I remember I used to wait for these people to even go to sleep, even though we were told that we are not supposed to cook late night. I would go cook my kaugali na tumayai hapo late night when no one is seeing me. 5 minutes, eat, and alala. That's how I was surviving. So now I think now my saving grace came when this lady reached out to my family. And I always say, if it was not for this lady, I don't know how my story could be. Because she reached out to my family and told them, I think the situation with Francis is bad. And I remember I was sharing with this lady the situation that is going on with my brother. Now she says, what you people think is happening there with your brother is happening with this other brother here. So I really don't know how that played out, because this time I'm not even in contact with my family. And as every family, we have a family group on WhatsApp, and I remember one that was very, very, very touching, and I got mad because my mom wrote a voice note crying, and she was saying, my son, I need you the way you are. I need you how you went to Dubai. I need you, I don't care about anything, It was very bad. And I remember I went outside, I drank. That time my girlfriend came, I locked her out because I told her, unazaje nifanya hivi to my family. She really didn't understand, but me, I knew this is the end. Now when you involve my mom, this is the end. This is where it all ends. And now even my suicidal thought came back. And I remember now, my sister would try to reach me. I would see, like even that one that my mom wrote, I saw it, I read it, but then ningejibu after 3-4 days. Because when I see something and it's really affecting me, I go drink, come back, sleep. Then after the third day, this is the time I'm saying, now I'm okay. Don't worry about me. So I think they had to really do, and I think I really made my family pass through a hard time. But I was thinking, this is where we really talk about addiction being a disease. Because me, I was thinking, mbona watu wananisumbua? Me, I'm just living my life. I was not seeing it as they are trying to help me. I was seeing that they are interfering with my life. And then even if I don't have papers here, mimi sijakuja nikawaambia nataka usaidizi. That is where I was. And I was thinking, what are they following me up for? Because by the end of the day, mimi sikuwa naona kama niko na any haja yoyote. And I just think I thank God for family, because I have some family members who are in Dubai. And now, because now my family, even I remember we were talking after I started my recovery journey, and they were telling me, if you could have talked to us, this thing could have been very direct. You tell us what is the problem, we sort you out, you come back home, life starts. But I chose to go the hard way. And now that's why I'm saying thank God for family. I have some family members who are in Dubai.
Yeah.
And now my family had to go to them. And they told them, do you guys know where this guy stays? Yeah, tunasikianga, because we rarely visit each other. We don't visit each other, which is okay. So tunasikianga kwenye naishi, tunaweza enda tumtafute. So they are being told, his story is like this, imefanyika hivi, he's even become suicidal. So I think I was just sitting there one afternoon, and I thank God I had not drunk. I was a bit okay. I had not drunk for like 2 days. And I'm just sitting in the house, and my girlfriend brings 2 of my uncles, who I'm really very indebted to, because by the end of the day, if they didn't come and save me, one is a brother to my dad, and the other one is a cousin to my dad. So they came and told me what is going on. So I told them, I don't have papers, I'm in overstay, I don't know how to go about it, I don't have a passport. So they say, hapana, hizi ni vitu ndogo. When people come with solution and they are showing you, hapana, you hapana, hii ndio inakufanya unakuwa suicidal, hii ndio inakufanya unakuwa. So they made it look so easy. In fact, I remember that house that I was staying, nilikuwa nimelipa nusu mwezi. And I remember this day, I don't remember which, I think it was 16th, and this guy was on my head. He's coming, hapana, no Francis, either you pay or you move out. And then with a girlfriend, she was saying I will pay, but I didn't know walikuwa wamepanga jama with my uncles to come and get me. And they are telling me, hapana, wewe chukua vitu zako, tunaenda. Tunaenda wapi? So I go with them. Nikaenda na kukaa kwa babangu mdogo. And they show me that this thing is very easy. And actually it was very easy. If when I lost my job, I could have just gone to the consulate and tell them my problem is this and this and this, I could have been helped. But in my addiction, my brain was showing me that I've reached the end. Sikuwa naona any way out. I didn't see solution. So I stayed with my uncle for like 1 week. Sasa ndio tunashughulika hapa. Anipeleka consulate. Of course, the passport cannot be prepared within 1 week. It has to, they have to prepare for me. I don't know, it's called an outpass or something. There is a paper that they prepare. So that's what I got. And then I need to go to the authorities, pay my overstay, pay my dues to the country. And all this happened within a week. You know, something that I could not do in like 2 months. So through the help of, I would say, all my family members. Because this time even my aunties and all, they were calling me and telling me, hey, you know, tumepoteza watu wengi kwa familia, hutaki kupoteza. So I think the story that was going out was like, hey, huyu msee ni kama anaenda. And I was telling them, hapana, hao watu wananichomea jina, mimi sijai, you know. I was sikuwa nakubali. But then I saw okay, hii nayo ni kitu amenifanyia poa. And within a week, through the help of family, I was able to fly back home.
Wow.
And I came back, I think it was on February 24th, 2024. Kwa ndege I drank wine. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa my last drink. So it's almost an year. I drank, tulikuwa na jamaa mwingine. He was going for his vacations. We happened to sit together and tukasumbua hao hostess sana mpaka wakatuambia hapana. Sasa nyinyi tuwezi wauzia tena, tuwezi wapea pombe ingine. So I think that was my last drink. And I thank God for that, because it's been a year full of ups and downs. But now coming home, the misery continued. Because now I came home, I thought, okay, it's all over now, I'm good. Okay, whatever happens, I'm back home. I can start all my life. Yeah, I didn't know I'm being tricked to go into a rehab. So I come back home, I go to my sister's place, she hosts me for 1 day. The next day they take me out for a tour of the town, you know. And then the next day they come up with an idea, they tell me, why don't we take you for a detox? Somewhere we know, places we know. And then in my mind I'm thinking, hii sinapelekwa mimi nakuja naendelea. So then it so happened that when I went there, I don't know walikuwa wameongea na madaktari or what. Till this day sijaijua. These doctors recommended that they don't do detox mtu akiwa anaenda nyumbani. They have to do detox if I'm inpatient. I ended up spending like 12 days there, which was very much against my will. I had some small cash yenye nilikuwa nayo, nilikuwa na ngoja tu naomba nitoke tu nibadilishe. I just drink. You know, I even remember when I was being detoxed, I had the withdrawal symptoms. I don't know what they call them. In one of the days nilikuwa natemeka hivi, so all the nurses came. Mimi nilikuwa najua sasa naenda. But then later on with the education and all, they tell us, I came to know it was the withdrawal symptoms. Niyo tei and all ikiniacha. And so now comes where they put the last nail on the coffin. When I'm finishing my 2 weeks being done detox, I think there was something that was posted in our family group, and I answered something. And then one family member said, this is not the carrier I know. At home they call me carrier. This is not the carrier I know. This is the addict speaking. Okay, you know, tempers flared. Now these people, they are coming to see me, and they told me, now vile tumekuona, you are going to a rehab. And I was mad. I remember even one time there was a doctor who was almost throwing us out from her office as the family. Because tumeenda hapo tumeletana juu, they are saying you need to go to a rehab. I'm saying hapana, maybe my mom is crying. Then the doctor said hapana, this is my office bana. Mimi ndio niko na authority hapa, you know. So it was bad. But then I was given an option. Nikaambiwa you're supposed to leave here tomorrow, but there are two options. Either you go to rehab ukiwa unajiona, ama uende rehab kama umepigwa hizo sedation. You go there kama umezima. It was a tough time. It was a tough time. I fought with my family, you know. I was feeling it didn't have to end like this. You know, I know myself, I can do better. So I'm given two options. And I looked back and I saw life imenipiga ya kutosha. I mean, what haven't I seen? Life ni nini janifanyia? So I thought the little dignity I have left, nisienda into a place I don't know kama nimezima. How will it even look like? And you know, outside there we all have the notion that when you're going to rehab you expect kupata watu wako hivi, watu wame, you know. So I was thinking, hey manze, wacha tu niende kama najitambua cause sijui naenda kupata nini. So I said okay, wacha watu wasiniweke hizo vitu, mimi nitajipeleka. So that's how I ended up in a rehabilitation center. And I remember even the day that I was going, I even told my family members, all right, so what? The 90 days zitaisha, right? Pombe huko nje zitaisha. Then I was even threatening them, and I'm telling them, you know, I can even come out and drink even more to show you people that you've done nothing. And I was really, I thought, hapana, mimi sitafanya hii program. Because I was feeling I was conned. You know, I didn't even get to experience Kenya after 5 years bana. Sijakunywa hata Tusker, my favorite beer. Wait. I had a lot of resentments. A lot. I had a lot of resentments. But then I said, by the end of the day, acha tu nifanye juu sasa nitafanya nini? I'm here. It's like you've been jailed and you have to finish your time. And I remember the first 2 weeks I was not even following the program. I was just there like a zombie. Nakuja, ni uji, sawa. Kulala, sawa. Sijui, okay, sawa. It was.
You are counting.
Yeah, mimi nangoja masiku. And then there is I believe you already know this by now that when people go to rehabs mostly, there's a 12-step program that is mostly run in almost every rehab. So these 12 steps, you normally recite them. This is to remind you your journey. And I remember the first step was very, very bitter. Ilikuwa inanifanya ni kama inakukejeli when he says that we accepted that our lives had become unmanageable due to alcoholism. You know, na mimi nauliza aje sasa?
What do you mean?
So mimi nilikuwa naona watu wenyewe, yani mmenitoa huko kuote mlilete hapa mnianza kuniambia hizi vitu. Aje, how is my life unmanageable? I could not believe that, you know. And for the past 2 weeks I was very resentful. But then I don't know how I changed my ways down the line. I met with people, started talking with people who have been through the journey, and then I started hearing stories of people. Because people talk, and in addiction there is that thing in sharing. When you share your story, that's why I said it might change a life. When someone shares their story and then they are like 10 times of what you've gone through, unabakingi zile za oh my god, kumbe hata sikuwa vibaya vile, kumbe hata si mimi peke yangu. You don't look it the negativity, unaiangalia from the positive side. So people started sharing their stories, and people I saw some people who are even doing way worse than me. You know, I saw some people who had not even drank for like 5 years, people who different stories. And then thankfully, as fate would have it, we were like a group of people. We started talking. What do you want to do when you go out there? And then we started saying, I want to change my life. And then I said, I remember I was once saying, if I get a chance to change my life, I would. Then I would talk with my primary counselor. She would tell me, you know, try to work on yourself. Like we always say, it works when you work it. So that's how I started working on myself. You know, I started doing the program now. I started, if it was even something like a book club, you know, something, I was very active in sports. Anything that is, you know, anything that will keep my mind occupied with the program, with the journey that I'm going through. I started doing that. And with some people, even I remember when we used to meet the people who are in charge, the counselors, the psychologists and all, they are telling me, you may change. Si vile ulikuja hapa a month ago. And then they would ask me, what happened? What went on? Then I told them, I just realized that I'm doing this for myself. By the end of the day, I'm not doing this for any family member. I'm not doing this for someone. And I just changed my perspective. I changed my attitude, and I decided that I want to come outside here and just get my life back.
Oh, yeah.
I decided I want to get my life back. The thing that was killing me the most by this time was the fact that you understand that I was gone for 5 years. And for these 5 years, I remember the last time I saw my daughter was in 2018. Now, I didn't even tell you. Now, when I left the lady pregnant, she gave birth. I used to come back home, see the kid. But then from 2019, I didn't see the kid. Now I'm coming back. She's 10 years. Niliacha mtoi, alikuwa ananichezea. She's now grown up. Nilikuwa nashindwa, first of all, will she accept me? Okay, what will I tell her? You know, there was a lot of questions that I was asking myself. But I also thank God for her mom, because maybe hakuwa amemwambia so many bad things about me, because otherwise maybe I couldn't even get a chance to talk to her. Because I remember the first time I went to see her, it was very tense. I'm thinking, oh my God, now does she accept me? This is something that made me, when I was in rehab, it made me want to change. And I said, as much as I've not been in my daughter's life for maybe all that time, I think I can make a difference. And then I started doing my step work. I realized there is something that is even called amends. You know, unaenda unaongea na wale watu umekosea.
Wow.
Some might forgive you, some might not. You know, and this is where I started. I said, okay, first of all, the first thing I want to do is make amends with myself. And they say that the best way you can forgive yourself is by working on yourself to improve yourself. Because by the end of the day, all those mistakes I did, they happened. Siwezi undo. Siwezi rudi kwa hiyo kampuni yenye ilinivuta niwaambie nichukueni. I can't undo that, but I can improve myself. That's the only way. When I feel I've done myself wrong, I can forgive myself by improving myself. And then the other one was just to make amends with my daughter. As much as these kids don't know what is happening, a day will come that this person will question, I mean, where were you? What happened? And now this was the thing that really made me want to change. And of course my family, vile nilikuwa nimekaa nje now. And I think that's how I came out, and I started now fellowshipping with other people. And I think, you know, when you're going through this process, people lose the trust they have in you. People don't even believe you. Family members, considering that I was away for such a long time, they didn't even know who I am anymore. They don't know what they have to think about me anymore. Hatujui ni nani. No, tulituma mtu aende huko. The person who is coming back is so different. We don't know what to expect. So these things, they start coming slowly. And I think for me it was like the person that nilikuwa nimetafutiwa therapist after kutoka rehab, someone to just see me and we just talk, because I was at a very bad place. Remember, now I'm coming back home. I don't know where to start. Where do I start? What do I even do? The only place I know, really, I can say I know for sure this place is home, is at my mom's house in Gatondo, you know. So I remember even I was in, when I'm coming out of rehab and they're giving me that exit plan, and I'm saying, I mean, mi naenda tu na flow, because I don't know what awaits me out there. So I came, I met with this guy, we are working together, and he's really helping me. And this is the guy who started now going and telling this, my sister and maybe family members, anawaambia, I think this guy has changed. And then they would tell him, hapana, aje, how come this guy has changed? Ule mtu mmoja tunajua, ule mlevi, you know, how can he have changed? So that's how I think me started, the chance or the opportunity to even talk to people came about. It was through my therapist, by the way. He spoke to my sister and he told her, Pana, this guy, he has changed. We've seen a lot of change. He's really working on himself. And that's how they told me, okay, can you at least go to Alzheimer's Rehabilitation Center and just be talking to people? And I would just go there. We watch some videos online of people talking about their lives, maybe like what I'm doing now, you know, just give them my story, give them some funny stories of some guys, what they did. They would give them they would give me their stories because they are also mostly same journey with me. So that's how I started, and I mean, the trust started to grow. You know, it's something that takes a lot of time. Maybe even now the trust is still growing, and I think it might take years, because by the end of the day, I mean, you cannot undo what you've done in 17 years. Considering I started properly drinking in 2007, I stopped in 24. You cannot undo 17 years in just a year or in just 2-3 years. It takes a lot of time. But I'm thanking God for the journey, and I'm really thanking God, because I think right now I enjoy being sober. Yani na enjoy kuamka asubuhi sina hangover. It's something that people take for granted. I really enjoy waking up in the morning and I don't have a regret. I remember I was talking to some people when we did the New Year, on the New Year's Eve. And I told them, wow, at least for the first time in so many years, at this particular moment, I know what I did last year and I know what I did this year. When the year is ending and when the year is starting. Because ever.
Long. It's been a minute.
It's been ages. It's either nimezima or I don't know, something must have happened. But now I thank God. And now I think I'm really grateful that I work also with other people who are going through the same. And I really want to tell and show people that, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Because by the end of the day, I realized that maybe I was in a very deeper hole than most of the people. I'm not saying I'm the worst. Huku nje watu wako na stories, but especially when I see young people. When I see young people and people who are seeking help, when they are early ages of 20s, I tell them, okay, I'm not celebrating this, but you must be very lucky. If you really work on yourself and you are 21, 22, 23, imagine 10 years to come, you'll be looking back and laughing about it. Some people like me, I realized that, hey, there's another way of life when I'm 34. So you see, when someone realizes and their family actually takes them when they are this early, I think that is one of the greatest things, because by the end of the day, alcoholism is there, drug addiction is there, but if people come and realize that, okay, it's a disease, sio curse, mtu, because by the end of the day, we look at it as a selfish disease. Mtu ni kama anataka kutesa familia, you know, and also our outlook, how we look with things, places like rehab and therapy. You know, these places, people do get help. But by the end of the day, it relies on you 100%. Okay, we will do our work. The psychologists will do their work. But it lies with that person. It was on me. I could have decided to do the 90 days and let them end na nirudi tu nikunywe. But it took me to say hapana. You see now, like when someone has ugonjwa, a malaria, you rely on the doctor and of course God Almighty and whatever is being told or prescribed to you. But here, when it comes to this thing of addiction, it's people talking. That's how people recover. And the only time that you'll be administered some medicine, ni kama hiyo time unafanywa detox, that is some medicine. Then maybe the doctor comes, diagnoses you with maybe ADHD or other conditions that are mental, wanakuambia you can take this medicine. Yeah. But remember now, this disease of addiction, it is brought about by so many things. Like for me, I came to realize that on the latter stages, it was, ilikuwa imechangiwa sana na the grief, that I didn't maybe allow myself to grieve, or I didn't grieve my dad. And it took a toll on me that I grieved later. So I came to realize all this later. And these are the factors that contribute maybe to me being an addict, you know. And also, I came now to understand that I'm a bit different to other people when it comes to drinking. You know, I admire people who really take a beer and go home. I admire people who have a mini bar at their houses and they are taking a shot.
Yes, and
yeah. You know, for me, I came to understand that I could not stay kwa nyumba moja na tei. It was not possible. Ni either mimi nizime ama hiyo tei ishe ama dozi ishe. 3 options. So I came when now I'm going through all this psychoeducation, talking to people, understanding addiction better. I realized that I was an addict and I had a problem. And sometimes we say, but it's nothing scientific, that we come to understand that we have an allergy to alcohol. Because mimi nikikunywa nafanya vitu watu wengine wafanya. Something must be wrong with me. You know, mimi ndio tukienda kwa party mimi ndio nazima. Mimi ndio navurugana. But the guys, they are still okay. So I realized that I have a problem. And now, through that and through all the friends that I met out there, I came to realize that now for someone like me, where it have reached, for me to drink is to die. For me to drink is to die. It means if I go back there, I'm going. And I don't think I'm ready. I think one thing that really keeps me going is the fear. The fear of relapsing. Siwezi imagine. I cannot imagine just waking up the next day with a hangover and some regrets. That thing keeps me going. That thing keeps me going. And they say, 1 is too much, 1,000 is not enough. You know, 1 sip is too much for me. But if I touch that 1 sip, 1,000 is not enough.
Wow.
So me, I've reached that point and I've accepted my fate.
You're allergic.
I think so. I believe so. Yes.
No, like quote unquote.
Yeah. Yes. Because, you know, I would do abnormal things. Other people do vitu za kawaida. You know, people are drinking, going to work very well. People are, unaona mtu ananawiri. How come mimi? What is the problem? You know? So I think I thank God so far. Wow. And even the chance that I have now at All Smiles Therapy Center as a recovery coach, just talking to these people, because what I believe is now me sharing this story and just going out there, that life that is changing someone, because I even have some people out there that would come and tell me, hey, manze hiyo story yako ni deep, but at least nimeona ina relate na yangu, although maybe sijafika hapo, but at least nimeona I know what to do. You know, that really encourages me. By the end of the day, it really encourages me. And anajua that there is still hope. Despite all the...
There's still hope.
There is still hope.
Kiari.
Yes.
Sasa unakula meals ngapi?
Sometimes in mwili tu ndo inanikataa, sijui kwa nini, but
mwili hii ndio watu wengine wanaendea.
I know.
Gym asubuhi na mapema na jioni mara 10.
Yeah.
You know, like it's liberating.
Very. Just think of it. I can't imagine. You know, the funny part, like when people say they want to go to a place like Dubai, people will be talking about the usual things, yeah? Desert safari. You want to go to Burj Khalifa. You want to go to all those tourist attraction sites. I've never been to one, despite having lived in UAE for 11 years. I know it's crazy. How could I have gotten time and my free time was just to go and drink? Naona Burj Khalifa ndo ile. Siwezi, hapana. Niko na phobia heights. But me najua, I didn't have time for all this. I've not enjoyed. And I think what really comes and changes is I was taught that you can have fun without drinking. Because I even remember when I was in rehab, tulichanga tukanunua mbuzi on Easter. I was in rehab last Easter. So my primary counselor, when they came back, ananiambia, how was the mbuzi? Yeah, it was okay. So and then this person is trying to tell me, you see now, you can still have fun and not be drunk. Because me, I was even wondering, those people who don't drink, what do they do during their leisure time? Mimi nilikuwa na wonder. I could not relate.
Like, how are you sober? Are you even having fun?
Alafu nasikia mtu anakuambia amepigwa off ya siku 3. Aje. The person is telling you, I went to Global Village, I went, you know, these are not things that were in my apana. But I thank God.
Now
I thank God. It's so liberating. Yes.
quite a testimony. It's like you actually answered indirectly all the questions I had. But how is your relationship now with your daughter?
Well, it's good.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. Even I sat down with her actually last Sunday and I told her I was away for some time. But then I realized she might not understand.
Much, right?
But at least just telling her, yeah, I was away, and she tells me, yeah, I understand, it's okay. Now it's I feel very good because at least I know she didn't get told anything bad, and I really appreciate the mom, and I know that she still believes I'm the dad. That is one thing, despite all the life that I lived.
You're still dad.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That you're still dad. God, I don't want to let you go. I know I'm supposed to sit here with my beautiful friend who also happens to be your sister, Teresa. But every time I sit here, I ask people to, have a parting shot to other people. Could you have a parting shot for yourself?
For myself?
Yes. What would you say to Kiari?
Wow. It's been a journey. It's been a very long journey, but so far so good. I have done well, and I believe I'm going far. Yes, I might have lost so many opportunities. I might have lost jobs, but all is not lost. And I think there is still hope. There is still hope. And even to all the people out there, even to my own brother, I believe there is still hope. He can change as well. Yes.
And to your daughter, she will watch this maybe when she's a bit older to understand.
I know, yeah.
When she's 18, 20, what would you want her to know?
Yeah, I would want her to know that, yes, I had sunk into alcoholism. I even touched it to her and I told her I was once an addict. She don't understand now, but yes, I had once sunk into alcoholism. It took away my youth, considering now I'm not a youth anymore. But I thank God I'm reclaiming my life back, and I can't wait to see myself to where I would dream to see myself. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And I know, as you know, we are sitting here, there are parents who are watching this and they are so lost. They've tried everything they can with their children, or their spouses who have tried everything they can with their partner, their children who have tried everything they can with their parents. And they are watching this and they are like so mad, because, there's always that stage where the family becomes so angry, like manze tumekufanyia kila kitu Kiarie, ni nini unadu, they are so frustrated. What would you want them to know?
I would just like to tell them, don't give up on these people. Don't give up on these people. What happens is, when you are in addiction and you are so deep in addiction, you isolate. There is shame, there is guilt. If now you as a family members, you start pointing fingers at this person, that's why you're hearing of so many cases of people being suicidal. I think the only way that we can do, don't give up on these people. Try to take them for therapy sessions, rehabilitation centers. This I think is the only way that we can help these people. And most of all, of course, for those people who believe, pray for them as well. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Beautiful. God, I don't want to let you go, but thank you so much for sharing this part of yours. It's a privilege to get to sit here and listen to you. It's
been a pleasure.
It's good that you've spoken to us about, like, you working in rehab. You were so mad, but you left with a purpose.
Yeah.
For maybe before you go, there are so many stigmas also around, rehabs.
Yeah.
People think rehabs ni kwa quote unquote watua when wazimu. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
What would you like to say?
I would just like to say we need to change that notion. Rehabilitation centers is a place where people go and get help. This is a place like where I changed my life. This is a place that you'll go, you get people who are qualified to talk to you. You get even nurses who are on call in case of anything. I think that thing of us thinking, oh my God, that person has been in rehab, that person is so done. I think we need to just live that and know that even going to rehab, it's part of the process and it's part of the healing. It's part of the journey, yes.
It is the journey.
Yeah.
Thank you. How does your dream look like now that you've said, there are so many things ahead of you? What do you inspire to do? When you
Wow.
look at the next couple of years, where do you see yourself?
Changing lives,
Yeah.
changing lives, and just having just a simple good life for me, maybe, and my family. Yes.
Go you.
Thank you very
From
much.
your mouth to God's
Yes.
ears.
Yes.
All right?
All right.
Do you have a question for me? Or do you feel there's something you've left that you want to add before I invite Teresa?
I don't think there's anything I've left, but it's really a pleasure. I never in my wildest dreams thought I could come to such a platform, and thank you very much for having me. Yes.
I don't want to mention this, but we are keeping it real. I have a family member who is in rehab,
Yeah.
and she told me she's in this particular rehab, and she told me you've really impacted
Wow.
her life. So even if this story doesn't change any other person's life,
Yeah.
I feel it's important not to say this off camera, but even on camera,
Yeah.
so that you don't go thinking it's for nothing.
Yeah.
It's for something.
Wow.
And it has really impacted her big time.
Wow. Wow.
There is no story without your name in it. And I'm like, God is good. So
All the
if
time.
I'm looking at someone who has really impacted her life, I think I owe it to you to say thank you
Wow.
from the bottom of my heart.
I don't cry. Huh?
Yeah, you're not gonna do that. Lakini
Of course.
too good.
Thank you so much.
Lakini Dubai lazima twende hizo excursions zote
Tunaenda sasa-
tukuwaifanya.
tunaenda-
Sasa twende kama
tunaenda sasa
watalii.
kutembea.
Twende kama watalii,
Of
tutembee. Sawa. Right, guys, before you go, let me just invite Teresa for maybe 10-15 minutes so that she can be able to wind up this for us and hear what she also mi na Teresa by the way off camera inakuanga tu machozi, tunakuanga na kasafari, but let me just invite her for a few minutes so you can see how beautiful she looks, and also tell us her why, maybe remind us why she also gets to do this. By the way, what do you think about her as your sister?
She looks amazing.
She looks good. Si hata kwa manguo overall. Sa yenye ulikuwa najua
Nilikuwa nafikiria ni luku.
Luku imekubali. Lakini you know we had a previous episode with her and she was telling us sa ingine family members yenye mtu anaambiwa enda to rehab, they become the enemy.
Yeah.
Now she's a friend.
She's always been a friend.
Yeah.
Deep down, hata nikiwa rehab, I used to know she's doing this for a good cause.
Yeah.
Me and her we've been very close because tumeachana naye na miaka 2.
Yeah.
Ni si tumefuatana. So since utotoni tunakuaga ile you know.
Yes.
So she's been amazing.
Yeah.
I would say ever since I left Seko, she became my parent, me and my brother. Because our parents hawakuwa able. So she's been our parent all through, and unfortunately till now that I'm this old, she's still my parent. So I can say no words can describe.
And I think she thinks the same about you, that you're amazing, but let her tell us that. Sindio? Karibu sana. Alright, so welcome back, and as I promised, I have our beautiful friend of the show here, Teresa. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
First,
Thank
let
you
me
so
just
much.
say, God, or let me just let you first introduce yourself, because I have to acknowledge maybe there are people who are watching this for the very first time, and when we come together, I forget the introduction real quick, so please go on.
Thank you. My name is Teresa Keneka. I'm a clinical psychologist at All Smiles Therapy Center and Training Institute, and now we have a rehabilitation center. I'm also a doctorate student pursuing clinical psychology at USIU. And besides all, thank you so much, Lynn, because I've been here severally, and I think today have actually felt how your host feels, because today I'm putting on 2 shows.
Yes.
I didn't know the other one is this heavy. So thank you. Yeah, I am the sister in the question. Yes, Francis is my brother. Yes.
Oh my God, he's so amazing, because I'm looking at him, he's putting so much strength to have this conversation with us. But I want to tell him, why do I feel like this is your papa's scary? Why do I have a feeling that you went through that to get people to come out of that? Like, does it make sense?
Yeah,
Does
it
it make
does
sense? Yeah.
a lot,
What do
a
you
lot,
feel?
Lynn. It has taken me time to talk about my dad, my dad died because of addiction. I actually got hope from him. because once we were sharing and he was like, but, well, my dad's or our dad's death is actually hope. And hope that someone who is watching today, we just talk about addiction being a disease, but we actually don't go to the extreme. And what people see, they see these people, they are stubborn, they are bothering, they've stolen from us, they are conning, they're not talking to us. They actually don't see the ultimate part of it. And I think with that, I started appreciating, and not that there is any joy in death, but I looked back and I said, wow, you are also a protective factor. And just like what he has said, it's so unfortunate that we have some people who will drink and they end up like my dad. So this month of February is a very significant month to us as a family, because now we are marking 7 years. 7 years since we lost our dad to addiction within 12 months illness. And now also a good month because it's Francis 1 year since he decided to embrace sobriety. So you can see we lost one to addiction, same February, we gained one. And I think to me, that's one of the achievements. Yeah.
How are you?
Well, it's heavy. First being a psychologist and also a sister. I think I love Teresa, the psychologist. She's very strong and, wow.
Take your time.
Thank you. We've had moments, we've shared, we've talked about addiction. And today, I eat, I dress because of addiction. When I put it like this, maybe in tears, I'm able to put it more well, because in any other normal day, I may not be able to, because that's what I do on a daily basis at All Smiles Rehabilitation Center. But Francis sharing, he's also my story, When we say addiction is a family disease, I've been sick. I've not been into his shoes. But, wow. Lynn have had tears of pain. It's only that tears, they're tears. I wish they were given color so that we are able to tell, are we having tears of pain, tears of joy? It's all a mixed reaction. Why? Because, the year 2018 is when we lost our dad. The previous year is when I was doing my master's in counseling psychology. It's when we did a course called chemical dependency. And all through, this to me was not just schoolwork. I could see my dad in it. But I know when you talk about our dad dying of addiction, Lynn, people would think my dad is one of those wazes who could sing in the village, who could start counting cows and all that. No. Up to after my dad's death, as now someone a victim of addiction, my dad didn't die of addiction. That was always, quote unquote, my story. I could actually take offense with you because I'm like, what do you mean? Haven't you seen how addicts look like? You want to tell me that my dad was there? No. Just like what Francis said, we grew up seeing him taking alcohol. And my mom, I don't know why, she just didn't like the husband taking alcohol, and my dad was not violent.
Dramatic.
You know, I used to look at her. There was this moment. I know my mom will definitely get to watch this. My mom really slapped me so hard. And why she has slapped me? Because my dad has come home late, and now we are catching up. You know, the way I could just hear he has come home, and I also wake up, and we are catching up, and I'm asking, lakini daddy, you know, why have you come at this time when, you know, now we used to sing Kenya, my mom, like, you know, we'll just point to the bedroom, and, you know, she doesn't like it that way, but of course she's hearing. And now my dad starts, you know, it's not like I like coming home late. Each and every time I want to leave, I'll have a friend saying, get another one, continue. They love my stories. Anyone who knows my dad, he had humor. And we are talking of a village life. You can imagine having such conversation with your dads. People used to envy us. Like, how close are you with your dad? You know? And he would tell me, now he used even to call them by names. Just like when I'm about to leave, teacher so-and-so, pewa ingine. And now my dad was like, if you are me, what would you have done? Continue with the stories. My mom from nowhere, slap. Why am I sharing this? It was a normal thing that grown-ups, they take alcohol. So definitely, it never occurred to me. But being in class as now a psychologist, we need to learn these things because it's for others. And we already have something we are visualizing how addicts look like. They'll come in staggering, they'll come in calling names, you know, all those things. So to cut it all short, because I knew my dad's loved, you know, if you present milk, tea, and a drink, I knew his favorite of such. When I was able to, I would also go buy, you know, nowadays we have supermarket, get in and buy something over Christmas and take it to daddy. What I didn't know is I was shortening the time. But you see, the reason why we are sharing this actually, it's not, and that's why I have said, I wish tears, they have colors. Clearly not tears of joy, per se, because we are family. And when we say it's a family disease, have been sick and have also seen sick families, Lynn. At time I look at them, I really want to be vulnerable, but I'm not able to. I look at them and I'm like, why are you repeating my words last year? Why did you record me? Because someone is telling you same. They bring their loved ones to the rehab, they can't sleep, and I'm wondering, why are you so me, you know? But again, looking Francis as he's sharing, it's actually a sign of hope. And not just hope, he is evidence, a pillar of evidence that actually this is doable. A pillar of evidence that addiction is a disease, Lynn. We will not tire and stop, because if you do, we have a dad 7 years later, 6 feet under, within a span of 12 days. And you know, I remember how I'm telling you we are close. I'm being the only daughter. And when I got a call, I remember that time driving home at 10 p.m. and calling a few people I know, doctors, and I'm telling them, oh, I'm told my dad is vomiting blood. He has swollen tummy and all that. I thank God for them, because they were like, by now you're supposed to be there. We should be talking where? The hospital. So I get home, no one knows, and I see my dad, I hug him, and I touch his tummy. And I'm telling him, hey, daddy, you know you are slender. Genetically, he has taken after the dad. Why I have said genetically, even remove the act of addiction, because if you see the person is named after our Guka, who I think he has never tasted. I have no history of him tasting. He's also that size. So now you see such a person with, but now my dad convinces me otherwise. So, you know, we ate nyama, and I think when we are starting to grow fat, this is how we start. And I'm like, yeah, why is mommy? I mean, vomit, blood, and all that. This is normal when you sneeze. Lynn, I was in grief for those 12 days. I didn't know what was awaiting, and not really about the death, which is ultimate, but also the fact that my dad died of addiction. How did I learn about this? When I got his death certificate, it's when I read it. But still, it never made sense. I looked at it, and there is the cause of death, and I'm seeing liver cirrhosis. No, alcohol-induced liver cirrhosis. I couldn't forgive myself. How did we get here? Remember, we've already done it. At some point, I was so mad at my dad. Francis has shared about losing jobs and all that. I remember my dad lost his job when we were in class 4. But it was still not addiction, because my mom is there, very beautiful, strong lady to take care. And we were all okay. I mean, because mommy was like, it's okay, you know, ni mipango ya Mungu. Why am I bringing all this? It's because we've grown to normalize addiction other than seeing it as a disease. Maybe if back then my mom could have seen there is an issue with my husband. You can imagine being in class 4. Because I remember it's when daddy is not going to work. From nowhere, the letter comes, he absconded. And you can imagine back in the days, yeah? But it was not an issue. And so I know I've given this example before, that 2 people grew up watching the dad. Anytime anytime I've said this, I always reflect back. So, Lynn, these are real struggles that we go through in our lives. And apart from it being a family disease, it's also a very diplomatic disease. Why do I say so? If I never went through it, I don't know if we would even be having All Smiles Rehabilitation Center. And maybe because I was already in the profession, even before I got to know about it, maybe it would be so technical. I've seen some rehab who preach the gospel of relapse is part of healing. But I'm also coming to say, let's embrace sobriety. Alcohol does not give you a second chance. And if it does, it's a chance to be 6 feet under. Why I say this, Lynn, is because here we come, still in the month of February, with both example. You know, people say there is what, we have steps. I know we did an entire addiction that I do not want episode to repeat, but we have steps of addiction.
It's on the screen, guys, by the way, in case, because we had, let me just remind them, we had an extensive conversation on addiction. So you see the screen, you can just search for that title on our platform and you can access that. I'll also pin it on the comment section. So sorry.
Yeah, and anytime I talk about the last one being, it's either you shape up, you embrace sobriety, or you die. Maybe even during that time, it looked like zile wamesoma shule. No, because yes, in school as a psychologist, but also as a daughter who would have loved to see the dad meet his grandkids, you know, who died because of addiction. Having said that, I carry addiction with a lot of weight, Lynn. Of course, I mean, because it has stolen from us. But when I look at Francis, I'm counting so many achievements that we are able to do. And thank you, by the way, because you've been in my life all through and we share. Last year, 2024, but I'll tell you for sure, his stands to be the first one. And I tell God, I know this, for me, I count his sobriety as a gift to me. Lynn, last year, a time like this, I was always having my mask on. It was so heavy for me. He has talked about what he was going through. You can imagine getting conversation, your brother is suicidal, and I need also to keep on seeing my clients who are also going through the same thing. And I'm wondering, but you, God, why don't you even see at the lives I touch and you also do something the other side? I know as he's sharing, I tried to be off the sister and was thinking, where were the family when all these things were happening? There is always another story of it. And the other story is, which again I said, addiction will take you away from your family. And that's what it did. It took Francis from our family. We actually didn't know, him being miles away, that it also took him away from the society. Lynn, I did all I could. I remember sending him some voice notes and telling him, hi bro, I have a feeling all is not okay with you. Get to know you can always reach out to me. I'm here. Could take even 10 days or 2 weeks. Nini ulikuwa unasema. You know those things, and you're so bitter and we are here. We've had our journey, we've had our moments. And so it happens to so many family people out there. We also get to a point where he has talked about the memory loss. What happens when someone is deep into addiction, there is also something we call substance-induced memory loss. You are not able to keep long-term. And in this case, you can see his case had gone. His long-term was actually 12 hours. We do something with you, I can't even remember in the morning. That someone is already deep into addiction. Francis, he has said he's very different. I'll also confirm to you, Lynn, I believe without fear of anything, if I say I'm taking alcohol day in, day out, I'll also be here in addiction. I thank God for that awareness. Why do I say so? He's different because genetically we are predisposed. We were born by an alcoholic dad. And because of that, here we are. And the much you can do is to say, we are the people to say it's over. Because we know who we are. I've said time again and again, we've all taken sugar at some point in our upbringing, but not everyone that has diabetes is a condition. Same applies. So we have the genetic predisposition, which means you are born with elevated dopamine level that if you're not so careful, they need something extra to keep it up there. If not so, you will always be feeling low. But you see, this something extra can come from many things. And that's why when you touch a bottle, he has said so well, he didn't know back then, being in a house with a bottle, it's either I drop down or it's finished or I don't have money, which means if it's finished and I have money, I'll still go and buy another one. That's what that does to you because it takes away the body, you know, the neurotransmitter reward of the brain. And now that reward, you need to get it from outside. That's how the addictive states comes to be. So when I look at Francis' case, I tell God, thank you, because all the steps he went through, maybe it's also what my dad went through. We never opened up. No one saw it happening. And am I sharing this from a sympathy point of view? No, I am actually sharing this just like what he has said. Maybe there is someone who thinks the same thing I was thinking. I know addiction. No, you do not know. You do not know their color. You do not know their voice. You can never tell their traits. Maybe until you are there. So unfortunate. But what we do is we run away. I had my moment of being bitter. But again, I also had my moments of resolve. And Francis had to be reintroduced back to me as the sister by the therapist. When he was walking through the journey, he also found me at a point where I was still bitter with the process. Like, you know how we are, what haven't we done for you people? And no matter how much he said that he has changed, I never saw it that way. It took one statement. I was in the US last year. So when I was coming, I made some call and I'm like, oh yeah, there is this thing I've seen, I would like to bring for you. And you see, as family, and he's excited and telling me about it. And then I went back to the Francis I know, because I'm also, you've talked about learning and relearning. I'm also in a process of getting fast to learn my brother who he is, because this is not the brother I've known. And have also been unlearning of those things and taking him back so that now I relearn how to deal with him. So this time, it didn't take more in our conversation. It took me back. And I told him, by the way, just to remind you, I've come to the US for a few weeks. I'm already asking what to bring you. You've been in Dubai for all those years and not even a pair of socks for my kids. Because in this case, I'm a family who is also sick. I'm yet to heal, remember. And so I expected it would be, a heated conversation. But Francis told me, I do understand you as a psychologist. And I know you've learned so much about this, but also from the experience, let me also tell you what addiction does. That time, it was addiction, and it's a very selfish disease. You are talking about buying my nephews a pair of socks. I couldn't even buy for myself. That's how selfish. Lynn, that to me, it was 10-0. I mean, what else do you tell such a person? And that's when I think my brother has changed. But still, no, let's not even go there. Those things of, no, Teresa, you've been hit severally. Now, we are having conversation with a therapist, and we needed now to have a recovery coach. And he comes and tells me, Teresa, let me introduce you to a recovery coach that I know is so good. This is a therapist that I know, that I work with at All Smiles, so I'm okay. In fact, it's okay. You can go on and bring them on board. And he's like, no, I need to talk to you about this person. Okay, let's talk about it. And now he takes the journey. Have worked with people post-rehabilitation center. At first I thought this was too good to be true. But I'm here to tell you, your brother, to me I was, please don't take me back. Have gone for therapy, have had, no. Please, can you keep family out of this? The guy left and came back, and when is the last time we went for therapy? Because still we go for therapy, Lynn. And this time now I become the boss, and I'm like, there is what we're going to discuss and what we will not. You get me someone. And he come back again. I have someone now. I have someone, and I'm sure this person, you like him. He start now with the features, this person, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay, fine. You guys, we can just allocate and see how they perform. Oh yeah, and I just forgot the person is called Francis Kaineka. This time, I said, well, let me prove them wrong, that I know my brothers.
Hamumjui.
Hamumjui.
kabisa.
And I remember telling him, I'll give you 2 hours in a day. Have him there. But the day he's going to mess up with my clients, be ready to leave.
Ni wote.
Because I felt like this guy is still pushing an idea that I'm not buying.
Mbona mtu anakaa Derek?
Wow. No, Derek is not a therapist. No, this is a psychologist, okay. One of our senior psychologists there. No, even Derek had actually, shared, but I knew Derek sharing because they are so close. He's sharing from a friendship perspective. And telling him, imagine, we've spent all this time with him, na hata hakukunywa. Anyway, Francis came, Francis served, and can I tell you, I needed not to be told by anyone, because results from our clients, I would go there and the clients were thank you so much for bringing Francis. It took us time, by the way, before they got to know that we are brothers. I didn't want to even, associate.
Yes.
When you mess when still they do not know. And now the clients who are like, I agree, psychologists, they're doing their work. Psychiatrists, they do their work. Nurses and everyone. But for the first time, we have someone we are resonating and someone we are looking up to. I think, to me, Lynn, that was wow moment. Well, time and again, when we have someone exiting their time, we always do a mini bash within. And I also got a chance to hear what he's telling them. And I'm like, have you ever looked at someone and you're like, wow. Until today, I've also gotten now the other side of the story. I thank God for giving me that moment, and also the family members involved in his healing, because it was not a one-man show. And the much I can say is we are pushed by people in addiction to extreme levels that we do not want to hear about them. We are so bitter, but just to remind people, at least we still have one thing left they do not have. We are not in the deep or in the hole where they are. No matter how ugly it might look like, as much as you're turning like this, you can still stretch your hand. You might be that second chance. My brother, when the girlfriend reached out and said he can just take sleeping pills and sleep and never wake up again. That was that wake-up call. Why? Maybe having been there, having buried, I knew I'm not going to play again. We are not joking. That's what he's saying. I thank God he made a way for him to be here. And look at Francis today. It's a case of an evidence, or a pillar of evidence, that we celebrate. There is hope, Lynn. We can never have all this. When it comes to mental health, there is things we tell you, fine, it's not curable, but it's treatable. We'll have to do much of work to you. You'll have to be there longer. The schizophrenia case. We also have bipolar. And not forgetting, also addiction can get you to all this. You can have alcohol or substance-induced psychotic disorders or bipolar and the rest. And we thank God that we never got to such extreme. And as much as February was a year that we had one out and another one now coming back, because as he's saying, it's a case of reborn. It's still not over for us as a family. We still have a brother that who is still struggling with it. And we are working to see how are we also able to do this. And as I say, we will have those moments. I couldn't believe that I'm having this discussion with Francis about the other one. And I'm telling him, we hujachoka, mimi venye mulikuwa mmenichokesha, please give me a break about this. And he's still like, but you see, if you never gave me that hope, and so I need, and I'm like, okay. These are the real struggles we go through in our families. We see our uncles, our sons, our daughters, our spouses, and everyone, and we think all is just okay. Wataacha, they will not be able to stop on their own. Francis has said, despite the adverse consequences, despite losing jobs severally, being at a hopeless position, being deep in depression, very, very deep. And Lynn, it takes first grace, strength, and a lot of awareness. Why do I say this? Because I'll just say this, that hospital is not a solution. Why I'm saying this, and with all due respect to our doctors and medics, when I look at my dad's journey, if there is any regret, is why did I take my dad to hospital and not to a rehab? Because to hospital, the same liver that was not functioning, they started doing the drugs, like to make him, now they were treating, other than knowing they need first to detox, they need first to give it time to regenerate. But again, when I look at it, as per the then knowledge, capacity, and of course, this thing of addiction can never hit us, too. As we grew up in a normal family and taking alcohol, who said that, not unless I see you picking things and collecting and not knowing yourself, that's when I can talk about you as an addiction. Same applies. When Francis, he went to hospital, it was a matter of screening and everything. And yeah, discussion was there to go home. I remember calling my mom and I told her, I'm very disappointed that Francis, there is discussion, because I went to see the doctor. And you see all this time, definitely, you also allow yourself to be treated, yeah? So I'm going as a sister, and I'm just thinking, what do you call addiction? You know what I did? I had to turn, maybe he's getting to hear this for the first time, I had to turn the receipt, and I made a note. I am the sister, and this guy needs to be admitted at whatever cost. Because now at this time, he's already panicking, and he's saying, by the way, you're not going to treat me, and I know, all those things. And now he's there, my mom is there, and that's how I passed, the way you take receipt, and no, this is yours, and I'm turning so that they can see something. I thank God that also that worked. I know people may ask, but you have All Smiles, why not? We dual relationship and a lot of things, and I thank God that she never came through, because we would not be having him go back there. So finally, what I can say is there is hope in addiction, Lynn. Have seen these turning lives, have seen people, and by the way, I do not know the people you call as addicts. It's only that we must protect the confidentiality of our clients, but I wish you are just able to see them. Lynn, they're just people like you and me. They're not any different.
Yeah.
In fact, very intelligent people. Anytime we sit down and we are sharing, I'm always like, oh my goodness, this person has a bright future. You're so intelligent. We have all the professions there. And you get to know there are people running their own show, just like many people out here. But what we do, we wait until we hear a case of someone dying by suicide or this happening, people killing others, and we say, we normally rush to say depression is real, but we do not even look at the other side of it. So let's be able to read the cues. That's the much I can say. And the cues is cues of addiction, because you may not have the ability to tell whether this is addiction or not.
God, I am sending so much grace your way.
Thank you.
I honestly don't take it for granted that you and Francis deem me worth to have had this conversation with you. And just like you are talking about how it was so hard for you to accept that your dad died of addiction. I think today is the first day I get to admit that to myself as well, that I lost my dad to addiction. And I feel we need to start calling it by name. Yes. Stop saying he died, alikuwa anaumwa na liver, kidney. Sasa unajua kuda the way we put it. Yeah. And then there's the honest way of putting it. But for me, knowing I can be comfortable right now to admit that to myself, because you and your brother have paved the way. Because the more we create a community of honest people that are battling this, even through their family members, I think the easier it becomes. Because I know there's that part of someone like Kerry being in rehab and talking to his friends and saying, pia umepitia hiyo. But I also feel like we don't see this other side where the family members also get to say, ara si tunapitia. Ara si tunapitia hii. When we say addiction is a family disease, I think our previous episode is what gave me that whole perspective. I think for me, for the first time, I got to understand what we are dealing with. I think also for the first time, anger left me. When you walked me through the stages, you either an enabler, you become mad. When you walked me through the whole stages, I think for the first time, I think my heart was at peace, and I got to understand that Lynn, tulia, manze, unaweza kumejam, but ajui kitu anafanya. So when that day is ready, I believe when I get the courage to sit the way you and Kerry have sat here, I would want to share this part of my journey with people so that they also get to understand that si mbaya pia.
Yeah.
Ikitu, si inakaa heavy, but there's a way when you approach it, it becomes a bit lighter.
Sure.
For the person battling it, and for the family as well. Like, don't beat yourself too much. And I feel like even when I came at your rehabilitation, and I've always told you, even when we sit here with you, I do not advertise your rehabilitation center. You don't pay me to do that. But I believe when we even walked in with the team last time when we came to check it out, it gave me home. I felt this is home. So even me trusting your rehab with one of my family members, like it made me feel like huku ni home. And I feel like that's what people don't get to see with rehabilitation centers. You need to feel hii ni home. Ndio hata ukileta mtu wenyu usifeel ni kama aki tumemwacha wapi, aki you know watabaki na kina nani, seeing the community that is there, seeing akina Jessica, seeing akina Flo, Derek. I think just knowing there's an amazing team that we get to know. Now I don't even call you.
But then you don't.
I don't, you know.
Know,
I'm just there checking up with Flo, just like knowing there's another community. What I'm trying to say is there's another community of people that have taken it among themselves to create a safe space for anyone battling with addiction is incredible. And I can only wish that God brings this community together who can be able to collectively talk about addiction and put a name to it and not always feel the shame of ati addiction ni nini. You know,
at your loved one died because of
addiction. What do you mean? Do you know how strong my dad was? What are you saying? My dad died of liver cirrhosis. You know, you're talking about your dad dying of liver cirrhosis. I know mine died of, but we would rather say liver, something.
Liver disease.
But
in fact, cancer sounds better and modest.
And not say addiction. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I love the thought of knowing you lost one, but there is hope in another one. And I feel like that's the hope you've given me. We might have lost one, but there is hope in another one. So kudos. Thank you for the wonderful job you're doing at All Smiles Therapy. Every time I get an email and someone is telling me, Lynn, my daughter, my son, which rehab, like I do that without thinking twice. Because I know that's your why. And when something is your why, you take care of it.
Oh, yes.
You take care of it. So,
and thank you so much. I can tell you for sure, many people through LNN platform, they've gone through our rehab. You know, these are things, as you've said, you don't advertise. Like now it was, in fact, I remember that call. You are still waiting. When are you coming?
When
you know,
are you coming?
Lynn, absolutely don't take this for granted. And anytime you are mentioned, I always go back to my knee and I tell God, continue blessing them. And that's why I celebrated this, you know, because I'm like, God, I do not know the much I can tell them, but continue. Not because this is business to me, and I'm sure by now you understand.
I know.
I did my thesis during Masters on Addiction, and my professor felt, wow, you've done a wonderful job. They didn't know that was my way of trying. Let me study this thing that killed my dad, because there is no safe community I can share, I can talk about. We only share, my mom, my other brother, and this one, and myself, 4 of us, about dad dying of addiction. When Kerry was in his state, and also we've talked about our last born also, you know, struggling with it. I heard of phrases like the father, like the son. You know, Lynn, you just say, well, I'm one person who say, I'm a living example. Addiction has hit us. But you know what? It's not going to define us.
Good.
And I think this starts by us sharing, because we don't get to share this other side of the story. Like what we are saying. When we say it's a family disease, who is this family? Can we get to hear about them?
Yes.
Lynn, also strength to you. And I know it's to you and your family and everyone. First, having lost your dad to addiction, and also acknowledging, and also having a loved one going through this. And you know, I remember when that call came, I didn't have words, because as you've seen me vulnerable, I can never be your therapist. I'm like, God, just tell me what to tell Lynn now as a friend. And I just told you, Lynn, just one day at a time, and a day will come. Lynn, my wish to you, for sure, a day will come, you'll be where I am with Francis.
Amen.
And that's my prayer to you.
Amen.
And I know it's coming
Amen.
because we are not talking off.
Yes.
And of course, now, without going deep into that, just to let people know, rehabilitation is actually a safe place, a good place. In fact, I say, do you know I also go there to debrief? Anytime I feel I'm stressed, I'll go, once I get inside, and I'm just there, we share with them. You know, now, these people, let me tell you, you see Francis is able to touch us. They are coming with some energy, and you look at them, no, me, I just want to be near them because there is some sanity. You know, it's not just treatment of addiction. By the time they're coming out, Francis has not said he has gone to do psychology because of this. So also expect such to happen.
Yes.
They know these mental disorders and everything. They're also able to call it, like our psychoeducation is also to bring them to the world of mental wellness. And when you are there, it's pure sanity. When you talk about you're not being judged by who, anytime I'll just go there and I just sit and I share. It's actually a safe place. I have seen other videos going out and I can just say that's not an example of addiction. Let's not run away. Anytime you think of addiction, think of a hotel where there is no beach because we must protect. Remember, he was suicidal within the first 2 weeks. And I think this now can relate with what we shared before when I said we see the loved ones saying, you know, I'll be here and I will leave. But a hotel where they're being taken care of, eating well, celebrating, and being there with others, all for the purpose of recovery.
Beautiful. Yeah. I hope this conversation, I know it's been a heavy conversation, especially for you, as well as for me, just avoiding to make this my story. But I hope it serves the purpose it's meant to serve, right? And maybe for any parent that is watching, this is not an ad guy, but any person that is watching, do you mind sharing the details of where they can be able to come and ask questions in case they want to extend the support to their loved ones?
Okay, you can get us. As I said, we are All Smiles Therapy Center and Training Institute. You can get us on +254 793 561 669. So anytime you call, when you call, we are not answering. You can always WhatsApp. We'll still be sharing, though I know you have our details, our contacts, and not just addiction. Yes, we have an inpatient rehabilitation center. Also, we have a counseling center. Our addiction is in Kiamompi. Kiamompi is just along Kamete Road. We have our psychotherapy center just here in Westlands. And we also do virtual. So please don't shy away if you are in the US or wherever you are. We are able to offer services online. And here we see kids, we see adults, teens, couples, everyone, for marriage counseling, everything, even for corporates and groups. And we take insurance for those with insurance. So also don't shy away, come inquiring about it. And also, Lynn, I think I'll be doing the service, not to tell you, people I was in the US.
Ulileta salamu.
So now, Lynn, let me tell you something. Do you know your name in the US, Lynn? You're such a darling, by the way. Not once, not twice, we got somewhere. And they're watching Lynn. And we are like, yeah, I wish Lynn would get to know. No, just say Lynn, Lynn. Let me tell you, your name has really gone out there.
Thank you.
And people really watch you. And I can't also fail to say I got free coffee when I was checking in at the boarding pass, just because someone was able to identify me. Therapist to LNN.
Oh my goodness.
You know, you've gone at Cafe Latte and international departures, you're happy and you're like, no, I will sort it. See when you're a therapist, and I'm like, yeah. Yes.
Which way we send our shout out to them?
Oh yeah, Cafe Latte, international departures.
Oh my God.
So I really felt it, and so salamu kutoka watu wa US, and they're asking, they've seen you cruising.
They wonder when.
They are waiting for you.
Soon, my people, but I won't like this year. I just want to stay here and cover.
And also with the Trump and everything that is happening.
What has Trump done?
I don't know what is happening here. We absolutely do not know.
But you know, I say, when God's time comes,
yes.
Unajua imeweza nilikuwa nimesongesha hivyo waone shoe game.
Oh, I hope
they've seen, but it's beautiful. But when God's time comes,
yes,
I know we will be there. Maybe we'll be there together.
There.
You never know.
Sure.
You never know. You're like, you're like, I appreciate our sisterhood. Which has been incredible.
Oh yes.
And as I see it from here, looking there, I can only wish you all the best, Teresa.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
your
much.
brother, your family, anything that you're trying to do to bring people closer to each other, that's not something I take. I've experienced it firsthand. So, you know, you're also my mom's favorite. So, pokea salamu zake.
Thank you.
You
thank
know,
you,
so I appreciate this sisterhood, and I feel like at the end of the day, guys, put you know, be able to share your story so that no one can shame you with it.
Oh yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it does. Embrace it.
Embrace it.
Embrace your weakness so that you make it a point of strength. Of reference.
Go through
and
it.
Not a point of stigmatization.
Yeah, go through it so that you can build with it.
Exactly.
That's me. Quote me on that, my people. Thank you. Shall we wind up?
Oh yeah.
You looked really amazing today.
Thank you so much.
So go and plug ni nani?
Tumesema tunaenda Amerika.
By the kaya ni fan wangu na uko US na unajua nguo penye naweza tafuta. Niambie mimi nitajilipia. Just tell me, uniletee in size 14 or 16 itanitoshea. Just
sorry, I got you, sweetie.
But thank you so much. Oh, guys, I know we wouldn't want to wind up. How long have we gone? Oh my God, it's been 2.5 hours of a very beautiful conversation and with an amazing person. And as I've said, if you know you have a family member who is battling this and you would definitely want to admit them to a rehab, check it out. We went there. It's very beautiful. I know you can see the images on your screen. It's very homely. It's easy. It's just easy. The amazing people. Pass our love to Jessica and her team. Amazing people. They are doing incredible work. And let's see where. I feel like another topic we can add to our conversations this year. Let's have topics around addiction so that by the end of the year, we can say, even as, I commit to having 10 episodes by the end of this year on addiction. I can commit to that, and I know you'll come through with professional guidance or advice.
Yes,
shall we wind up?
Oh yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. I know EJ is like, Lynn, maliza shoot yako niende shoot yangu. And I love the support you keep giving EJ. EJ is he's an amazing guy, interesting guy. Yeah? You've seen him doing a couple of vox pops here on the platform, and I'm sure his future is bright. I know God has amazing plans for him. So continue really encouraging him as he brings you some of the programs. I love when you see his face, you are not like, Lynn ako wapi. I love that you embrace him and you understand that he's part of us. So thank you for the amazing support that you're showing him. And I'll say what he says, road to 1.5 million subscribers. Here we come. Thank you to the incredible team. Scholar, Muga. We have a lot of people here at LNN. I've mentioned them by names before. Akina Wakabi, Sam, Albert, Val, Mtange. I hope I don't leave anyone behind. Muga, Scholar. Have we left anyone? No. We are good? Yeah, all the people that make this happen. They are the people who get to deal with our stresses when we are not filming. They're the people who make sure that when we sit here, we are having amazing shows. So those are not people I take for granted. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching. Want to get in touch with All Smiles Therapy? The contact details have been on your screen. So feel free to reach them out. And also you can check them on their social media. I'm gonna leave the handles on the screen as well. It's a bit emotional, but guys, my name is Lynn Ngugi. Catch you tomorrow, our time, 10 a.m. or 7 p.m. Bye. Bye. This one is dedicated to Kiarie, by the way. Thank you, Kiarie. You are who you think you are. So, shukran. Twende saa Dubai. Tatulipia hiyo ndege.